Hello guys, I hope you are well and welcome to my Morocco travel tips video. If you're new here, I am Sydney. I am a travel agent and travel blogger from Florida, currently living in sunny Palma de Mallorca, Spain. Today I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about Morocco and all of the travel tips to go along with this amazing country. For me, Morocco is such a great destination, especially for travelers who have maybe done quite a bit of European travel and love that easy flight access, but are still looking for something culturally different to sort of expand their travels. Morocco is pretty great to travel to year-round. You might want to avoid visiting in the peak of summer or during Ramadan, as most things will be closed during the day during Ramadan, but honestly, there is no bad time to go to Morocco. Before we get into it, don't forget to subscribe. So your first Morocco travel tip is to spend your money where it counts. So I know this trip goes for any travels you go on, but I think this is particularly important in Morocco because so much of Morocco is economical and budget friendly, but there are a few things you don't want to sort of cut corners on. One of these being your Sahara Desert tour. There are definitely some economical options available for the Sahara Desert, but believe me, you will want to spend a bit more money on this once-in-a-lifetime experience than just $100 to be crammed onto a megabus, driven 12 hours, dropped off in the desert, and then driven back. In general, you're going to have a much more comfortable experience in Morocco if you hire a private driver that has negotiated rates in advance. Sometimes this can get a little bit pricey, but it's worth it as driving in Morocco is insane and you will not want to be on a big bus on those wild roads. So travel tip number 2, go to the souks with a guide, the first time especially. This sort of plays into tip number 1, but the souks are extremely confusing and easy to get lost in, and you will likely get hassled if you do not know what you are doing. After having been to Morocco 4 times with a 5th trip planned for next year, I'm just now to the point where I feel comfortable attempting to navigate the souks alone. A guide is also going to point out things to avoid, like fake leather, and he's also going to help you haggle with the locals if this is not something that you are used to yet. Our third Morocco travel tip is to dress appropriately. So I'm always and always will be a big fan of taking your wardrobe that you have with you to your destination. You know, there's no need to go and buy everything new to go on a trip. However, as Morocco is a predominantly Muslim country, you do want to sort of be respectful of that culture. I mean, there's no need to cover your hair when you go out in public, but it is courteous for both men and women to cover their shoulders and knees and to dress modestly. Tight and revealing clothing, while not only really disrespectful to the culture, will also leave you feeling uncomfortable because people will be staring, and that goes for no matter how confident you are. If you're not dressed appropriately, I hate to say it, but you will more likely be hassled or catcalled, and when you're far from home, it's just my personal belief that it's sort of better to go with the norm of the culture that you're visiting. To me, travel is about opening our inner boundaries to a new culture, so you know what? Break out those maxi dresses, think of all the cute photos they're going to make instead of thinking about what you cannot wear on your vacation. And also, just a little personal tidbit here about me, I almost exclusively travel in looser fitting clothing, covered up. As I've gotten older as a traveler, I find it makes me appear a little less American, a little less standing out, and it just doesn't draw as much attention to myself as if I was wearing everything skin tight or short clothes. As a solo traveler, this is just a decision that I've made myself. I'm not here to say that you have to do that or that you should, but it's just something that I've chosen to do when it comes to prioritizing my safety and comfort. That lack of attention dressing, you know, it sort of nonchalantly sort of helps that out. But of course it does just depend on the occasion. Your fourth tip for traveling to Morocco is this: do not just go to Marrakesh. There is so much more to Morocco than Marrakesh, and while I love this vibrant and colorful city, there is so much more to do in Morocco, so please explore out there. From the blue city, Chefchaouen, to Tangier, which is super multicultural, and of course historical Fez, and you of course cannot forget the amazing walled city of Essaouira, my personal favorite. My biggest recommendation for a trip to Morocco is to take your time. Anything less than 2 weeks is a disservice to this incredible country. Morocco travel tip number 5, do not accept help for directions or with your luggage. If a man is coming out of the woodworks, out of nowhere, to tell you where to go or to offer you a hand with your luggage, it's a setup, and he's going to be asking for 200 dirham at the end of this little bit of help. In that same train of thought, always track where your taxi driver is taking you, because he will also try and rip you off. When we were in Chefchaouen, our taxi driver dropped us off at the bottom of the hill when our hotel was on the top, and refused to take us up there, saying something about restricted access. At the time, of course, we didn't know, but this was not true, as we later on could see other taxis up there, but at the time, there wasn't really anything we could do except accept his offer and get our bags and get out of the car and carry on. So as we're getting our bags and starting this hike up the hill, which I should say was probably about 250 steps, and we could not see like the main road that was like the ramp where we were dropped off. But anyway, so as we're starting this hike, a man just happened out of an alleyway offering to help us with our bags and saying that he was with the hotel. We politely declined, having known about this scam in advance, but he followed us for a bit to see if we changed our minds, and when we didn't, he cursed us and he walked away. This happened to us a few other times, and this is one of the reasons why I say arranging your transfers in advance really does make the experience so much better. As a travel agent, this is one of my major tasks when it comes to planning client trips, and it just ensures a sort of seamless experience and you don't have to deal with all these little snags in your plans. We had another time where a 12-year-old boy tried to give us directions in Marrakesh, and when we declined him, his little squad of friends got really mad at us, and we knew the way to our riad, so we didn't need them, but they followed us saying that they were helping us. When we refused to pay them, they got really upset and then got into an argument with the doorman at the riad. It was a mess. So later on, when we left, the boys were waiting for us and they started screaming nasty things at us, throwing rocks at us. One like grabbed my butt and then like yelled in my face. And I don't tell you this to scare you from going to Morocco, but I do just want to sort of stress the importance of having the logistics sort of nailed out, especially if you're feeling any sense of apprehension. Travel tip number 6 is also about transportation. But if you do have to take a taxi, which is totally fine, just be sure to set your taxi prices before you get in the cab. Tell the guy where you're going from outside the window and then ask him how much. In most instances, a taxi ride within the city, as long as it's under 10 minutes, should cost about 50 dirham. If they're charging you a tourist rate, it will cost about 100 dirham. And if they're really taking you for a sucker, they'll say 200. Most of the time now, I will just hand them 100 when I get out of the cab. If it seems like a fair price, just hand them a tenner. But I definitely recommend setting the price in advance. Oh, and a bonus tip that I forgot to add in here, I 1010% do not recommend renting a car in Morocco. Travel tip number 7 for Morocco is a bit more fun, but this travel tip is to hire a photographer while you're in Marrakesh or any of the cities. Make these memories last and last a lifetime, and have incredible photos from your trip from a professional photographer took. Flytographer is a really great resource that I have personally used, and their photographers are all over the world, so check them out, the link in the bio. Morocco travel tip number 8 is haggle at the souks. I know it's not what we are used to as Americans, but whatever someone offers you, at least cut that price in half, just on principle. Seriously, know what you're willing to pay for something, offer less than that, and don't leave the shop with the item unless you are 100% pleased with the terms of the price that you've come to. If they don't get to the price that you want, walk out of the shop and continue on if you have to. Usually the seller will come running out and give you the item at the price that you want. I one time wanted a purse that a man told me was 750 dirham. Now, I already had a purse that was almost exactly the same that I had purchased a few years before for 100 dirham, so I knew I was not going to pay more than 200 for this thing, so I told him no, that I would pay 100. He laughed at me, of course. Then he realized that I was serious and he offered it to me for $600 and then $500, and I said no. He tried to put it in my hand. I said no and walked away. I told him again, $100. He laughed, and so I left the shop. Within 45 seconds, he comes running out of the shop and says, okay, $150, deal. I only had two $100 bills on me, so I handed them to him, asked if he had change. He said he didn't have it on him, but when I walked back on the back by the shop on the way out, he would give me the 50. I wasn't holding my breath, but I was curious to see how it played out. Wasn't gonna cry over the loss of $5. When we went back, he wasn't in the shop, so I just kept on walking, but after a minute of walking, his son came out of the shop running up to me and handed me the 50. Like I said, haggle. Morocco travel tip number 9 is a little silly, but honestly, when you're in Morocco, you absolutely must go and get a hammam. It might seem a little weird to go into a sauna, strip down naked, and have somebody scrub you down entirely with oils and scrubs and clay masks and who knows what else, but it is truly one of the most amazing experiences you will ever have. And Morocco travel tip number 10 is do not eat the train chicken. You will regret it, but that is a story from another time. And just to let you know, on the trains in Morocco, the toilet is just a hole in the floor that goes straight to the tracks. So another reason why you should be booking private transfers in advance. Thank you guys so much for watching my Morocco travel tips guide. I really hope you found it useful and maybe a little bit of fun. If you want more travel tips, you can find them on the blog, which is www.bohotravel.org. If you need help planning your trip to Morocco, please reach out to me. I would love to plan your dream vacation. You can find me, or find my inquiry form rather, at www.exploretourtravel.com/Sydney. And again, thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to give a thumbs up and subscribe. Bye. Keep it groovy.